Am I the asshole for ruining Thanksgiving dinner by defending my girlfriend from racist comments? Disclaimer, this is not my story. For background info, I'm a 23 male, white, and my girlfriend is 22 female, black. My grandparents are extremely racist, and although it's just two of them, they will find any opportunity to let everyone know that they hate non-white individuals. Because of this, I'm not close to my family, especially my parents, as they never say anything about it and even laughed at the racist jokes. I don't go to family gatherings or parties for many reasons, but mostly because they're racist. A few weeks ago, my parents invited my girlfriend and I to family Thanksgiving dinner. This was a huge shock to us because ever since my family found out we were dating, they stopped contacting me and cut me off financially. I was a bit hesitant, but my girlfriend insisted we go since I went to her family Thanksgiving dinner last year and that if anything went wrong, we could just go home. Am I the asshole for ruining Thanksgiving dinner by defending my girlfriend from racist comments? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I was a bit hesitant to go, but my girlfriend insisted we go and that if anything went wrong, we could just go home. When we showed up, the majority of my family greeted her, but my grandparents stayed seated on the couch and refused to even look at us. When it came to the dinner itself, my parents started asking my girlfriend what she did for a living in typical get-to-know-you questions. She told them she was a college graduate and a registered nurse. My grandfather chuckled and said, "Of course it is." The table kind of got quiet after that, and even though I hadn't touched a single thing on my plate, I started gathering my stuff. My grandfather said, "Are you leaving?" I didn't answer, so he proceeded to say, "You know what? Get your stupid racial slur out of here. It was never invited anyways." My girlfriend ran to the car. I completely blew up on my parents and grandfather. Am I the asshole for ruining Thanksgiving dinner by defending my girlfriend from racist comments? Disclaimer, this is not my story. My grandfather said, "Are you seriously leaving?" I didn't answer, so he proceeded to say, "You know what? Get your stupid racial slur out of here. It was never invited anyways." My girlfriend ran to the car and I completely blew up on my parents and grandfather. A lot of my family members were also defending my girlfriend with me and some of them left. I told him to never talk to me again and that I would never be coming back to any family gathering. My dad tried to calm me down, but I blew up on him and my mom for even inviting me in the first place. They knew my grandfather would say something and they didn't even defend my girlfriend, so I stormed out. When my girlfriend and I got home, I apologized to her for everything, but I got a phone call from my dad. He said I ruined Thanksgiving dinner, I overreacted, and I should have just left. And that I made everyone hate my grandparents. Am I the asshole for forcing my brother and his girlfriend to get an abortion? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I'm 24 years old and moved out of my parents' place a couple years back. My parents are terrible people and were cruel to me and my brother growing up. I very much enjoy the space to myself, and it has been the only time in my life I felt truly safe. My twin brother Zach didn't move out and was pretty miserable living with my parents. About 8 months ago, he asked if him and his girlfriend Kat could stay with me for a while. He started school a couple years after me and isn't financially stable enough to afford his own place. Knowing how shitty my parents were, it wasn't really much of a decision. I told them to chip in when they can, and as long as I'm not paying for their food or anything like that, it's chill for the time being. Things have been fine and they've been nothing but respectful to me and my place. My place is on the smaller side, but Zach is usually at school or work and Kat works as well. Am I the asshole for forcing my brother and his girlfriend to get an abortion? Disclaimer, this is not my story. Their plan has been to move out once my brother graduates, which will probably be 2023. So I'd likely be living with them another 2 years. But about a week ago, they told me his girlfriend Kat is pregnant. While I am excited for them, this throws a wrench in our living arrangement. I can't deal with the baby living with us for the extended future. I'm very sensitive to noises and suffer from insomnia. When I asked them what they were planning on doing, they said they were going to keep it as Kat doesn't believe in abortion. And they think they would make great parents. I congratulated them and ended the conversation there for the night. The next day, I asked them about their plans for housing as they know about my sleeping condition. They said they would stay here as they have nowhere else to go. I told them that won't be happening for reasons I already stated. They both got upset and accused me of forcing them to abort their baby. Am I the asshole for telling my sister she would have been a terrible mother? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, 17 male, have two sisters, Alice, 29, and Miranda, 33. I am much closer to Alice than I am to Miranda. Miranda is also not on good terms with our parents. Alice has 4 kids and is currently expecting child number 5. Miranda can't have children, which is why her ex divorced her. Miranda is very successful in life. She has a nice apartment, works a good job, and earns a decent amount of money. Alice, on the other hand, is struggling financially. She had her first kid right out of high school and got pregnant with her second soon after. So she decided to be a stay-at-home mom for her children while her boyfriend provided for them. Me and my parents try to help them out as much as possible with childcare or money. Miranda doesn't help out with them. She says it's because she's too busy. She works long hours, but she doesn't have kids, so I don't know what she does on the weekends. Am I the asshole for telling my sister she would have been a terrible mother? Disclaimer, this is not my story. Miranda also doesn't help out financially, which I find unfair. She makes so much money and all she does is spend it on herself, but she does get good gifts for Christmas and birthdays. My parents nag her about it, saying she should be giving some money to Alice monthly, and I agree with that. Miranda had baked muffins and she invited me over to eat and catch up. We started talking about Christmas presents and I told her some of the stuff I wanted. She said she would be giving our parents a coupon for a vacation, and then for Alice some clothes she had mentioned and some boots and jackets for her kids. I asked her, why do you always give Alice the bare minimum? You can afford to help out more and you refuse to out of spite. She looked at me and laughed and said it wasn't her business to feed 6 people, that Alice was old enough to make her choices and live with the consequences. Also that she knew what she was getting herself into. Am I the asshole for telling my sister she would have been a terrible mother? Disclaimer, this is not my story. She looked at me, laughed, and said it wasn't her business to feed 6 people, that Alice was old enough to make her choices and live with the consequences. Also that she knew what she was getting herself into and she shouldn't have to pay Alice's way through life just because she kept having children she couldn't afford. I was shocked at how cold she reacted. I asked her how she could live her life being so selfish and uncaring. She got angry, then told me I was too young to be discussing this stuff with her and to drop the subject or get out. I got frustrated and told her no wonder your husband divorced you. Even if you could have children, you would be a terrible mother. Miranda got very quiet and told me to leave and never come back. She now has me blocked on everything, and though I don't agree with her not helping out Alice and her 5 children, I'm starting to feel guilty for what I said. So am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for bluntly telling my sister the reason she's single? Disclaimer, this is not my story. My sister Katie has been on Tinder for a year and she's only had 2 dates. When Katie matches with a guy, she sends him a 2-page Google document that he has to fill out with a lot of questions. These questions include his job, how much he makes, height, weight, zodiac sign, political views, and more. Most men either unmatch or troll her. For example, one man claimed he was the president of Uganda. Katie was complaining over dinner that she hasn't had a date in months. I told her that her Google document nonsense is deterring men away. She got upset and said it's the best way to weed out undesirable men before it gets too serious. She then said women should support other women, but I told her what she's doing is a bit creepy. She got angry, then left. Now Katie is very upset with me and deleted her Tinder because she got insecure over what I said. So am I the asshole for being honest? Am I the asshole for telling a guy to stop sticking his feet under my seat on a plane? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I was flying home from Thanksgiving and I fell asleep before takeoff. I was woken up less than an hour and a half later by the feet of the guy behind me. He stuck them under the chair and they were poking my feet and legs. I tapped his feet with mine to signal he was in my space, so he took them away. 15 minutes later he did it again, so I tapped him again and he moved. Then 5 minutes later he did it again. I couldn't turn around and ask him to stop because the seatbelt light was on. So I then used my foot to push his back. Every time I did, he put them back immediately. When the seatbelt light turned off, I unbuckled, turned around, and said, "Can you stop putting your feet under my seat?" His kid was sitting next to him, so he said, "You're gonna speak to me like that in front of my son?" I replied that I didn't care about that and he needed to respect my personal space. While getting off the plane, he called me a stupid bitch. Am I the asshole for letting my 17-year-old daughter have a cigarette with me? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, 43 female, have a daughter. She turns 18 in December. I smoke and have been open with all of my kids about it. I've never glamorized it and have been honest about how it affects me. My daughter and I have a really good relationship. Earlier this week, she came to me and said she was going to a party and there would be booze. Also that her friends were bringing cigarettes. I asked her if she wanted to do what we did with booze, which was see her tolerance. She said yes. So I let her have a couple of puffs. Afterwards, she felt a lot better about going to the party. After she came back from the party, she told me she didn't smoke and that having one with me made her more confident about saying no. Her father found out about it and called me, yelling for about half an hour about how disgusting I am. His outburst took a toll on me, so I called my sister to vent and cry. She said I shouldn't have let my daughter have a cigarette with me, so now I'm conflicted. Am I the asshole for cursing out my girlfriend's dad for assuming I'm gay and leading her on? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, 17 male, am from a small town where everyone knows you and knows everything. I have a best friend, Brian, who's 17, who I've known since I was 8, who's gay. Homophobia is still pretty common here, and when Brian came out the summer before freshman year, it kind of got bad for him. I've always defended him, and I got both of us those pride badges and pinned it to my backpack to support him. As a result, a lot of people assumed that I'm gay and that we're dating. I even had to quit football because it got too dangerous to play. I started dating my girlfriend Gwyneth almost a year ago, but people think I'm using her.
bring it,